The shattering of certainty. The Dominion fleet fired. They had to. Pride demanded it. If this was some trick, some desperate survivor masquerading as the phantom of humanity, then overwhelming force would shatter the lie. Missiles streaked across the void. Lances of energy tore the darkness. The full fury of 30 ships unleashed in a single storm. The human vessel did not dodge, did not scatter, did not retreat. It endured. Weapons that had reduced worlds to ash struck its hull and flared uselessly, like sparks against iron. The ship advanced, not in rage but in certainty, as though inevitability itself had taken form. Then its guns spoke. There was no wasted fire, no storm of missiles, no barrage of beams, just precision. Every shot counted. Every strike crippled a Dominion warship with terrifying efficiency. One by one, proud vessels that had stood unchallenged for centuries fell silent, their wrecks drifting like broken teeth. Panic rippled across the Dominion channels. Orders collapsed into chaos. Admirals who had once laughed at legends now screamed in terror, their voices cut short as the Resolute carved through them like shadow through flame. And still that signal pulsed. Boom, pause, boom, pause, boom. The heartbeat of a species the galaxy had sworn was dead. Whispers in the aftermath. When it was over, silence reigned. The Dominion fleet was gone, scattered wrecks orbiting in cold defeat. Only the human vessel remained, poised at the threshold of the sector gates, watching. It did not pursue. It did not broadcast threats. It simply lingered, its presence alone enough to rewrite the order of the galaxy. The surviving scouts carried the tale back to their empires. Whispers spread like wildfire across every council, senate, and warlord's hall. The humans are real. They did not die. They are returning. Fear followed the whispers. Fear and awe. If one vessel could erase 30 warships, what would a fleet do? If the myths were true, if humanity had indeed walked away from the galaxy once, only to return, what purpose drove them now? In the end, no answer came. Only the ghost signal, still pulsing across the stars. Boom, pause, boom. And with it, a chilling truth no empire could laugh away again. The myths were never myths. The humans had come back. And the galaxy would never be the same. The myth of the lost species. In the vaulted chambers of the Zelthari High Academy, the word human was spoken only in jest. To them, it was a convenient cautionary tale, an allegory about ambition devouring itself. The archives, if one dug deep enough, mentioned a bipedal, warm-blooded species from a pale blue world lost to time. But no serious scholar wasted ink on such fables. Humans were catalogued as one of the extinct curiosities, their homeworld consumed by its own wars, their colonies scattered into dust. The elder races of the galaxy loved such stories. They wielded them in lectures to mock younger species. Grow too quickly, burn too brightly, and you'll end up like the humans. Entire councils chuckled over the myth, weaving it into jokes and proverbs. In war rooms, admirals laughed at the idea of ghost fleets manned by humans waiting beyond the edge of known space. It was arrogance wrapped in certainty, for none among them had seen so much as a trace of humanity for millennia. To the galaxy, the idea of humans was as absurd as shadows steering the stars. And yet, on the eve of the Fourth Dominion convergence, as fleets assembled near the Kevarn Gate, a signal pulsed through the dark, weak, broken, like a whisper from a grave that should have never stirred. The signal that shouldn't exist. The Dominion Navarks dismissed it at first. Static rippled across their long-range receivers, carrying strange tonal patterns. It was almost laughable, an amateur mimicry of an old hyperwave code long abandoned. But archivists stationed on the forward relays froze as they parsed the fragments. The signal bore markers from the obsolete epoch, codes that had not been used since before the Dominion's birth. And deeper within the noise, hidden like a shard of lightning in fog, was a sequence every cadet had read in their first year, the trinary identifier once attributed to Terran command. The room chilled. Admiral Varisk sneered at the suggestion. Impossible. Ghost stories, nothing more. Some smuggler splicing old code to confuse border patrols. His words carried the confidence of a man who had never known fear. But the younger officers were uneasy. The signal's decay pattern, its rhythm, these were not random. They matched precisely with pre-Exodus transmissions. It was not a forgery. It was authentic. Still, the High Command laughed. What was a dead species to them? A footnote in galactic history. The Dominion had spanned 600 worlds. The humans, if they had ever truly existed, had not survived even one age cycle of empire. The Council moved on, drafting fleet maneuvers for the coming war. But the signal kept repeating, stronger, clearer, as if something was moving closer to the gate. The approach of the impossible. 3 cycles later, the Dominion's perimeter sensors at Kevarn registered a mass anomaly. A vessel, or perhaps a distortion of space itself, emerged beyond the fringe. Its silhouette was blurred, its energy signature unreadable by any known metric. The fleet's analysts pored over the data with curiosity rather than alarm. An unmarked craft, they concluded, possibly a derelict dragged forward by the gate's gravitic pull. Yet their calculations betrayed unease. The vessel was large, too large. Its profile did not match any Dominion, Vanar, or Coral design. Its armor reflected scans like obsidian cliffs deflecting storm tides. More unsettling, the ghost signal originated directly from its core. Commanders mocked it as theatrics. A trick, they said, a pirate citadel ship, an empty husk. They ordered escort frigates to intercept, fully expecting to tow back the anomaly as a prize. But as the frigates closed, they went silent. No distress calls, no explosions, no final words, just silence. Their transponders winked out as though erased from existence. That was the first crack in the Dominion's arrogance. When legends walked again, the vessel revealed itself with no fanfare. It drifted forward, parting the void like a black monolith, its frame vast enough to eclipse entire carriers. The Dominion fleet, 200 strong, hesitated. For the first time in centuries, they hesitated. Then came the broadcast, not the garbled, broken signal they had traced before, but a voice, clear, resonant, speaking in a tongue no living species should have remembered. Terran vessel Aegis at the gate, stand clear. The words were simple, cold, absolute, and they should have been impossible. The council chambers on Kevarn trembled with disbelief. The Navarks demanded translation, though the archivists could hardly speak for trembling. It's standard Terran, one finally managed. Perfect, unaltered, the language of the humans. The silence that followed was not of reverence but of horror. A myth was speaking to them, claiming a name long abandoned to dust. The Aegis, a human warship, alive, awake, and standing at the threshold of the galaxy. The weight of forgotten power. The Dominion had fought countless wars. They had crushed rebellions, extinguished species, and rewritten maps of stars. Yet in that instant their pride faltered. For the human vessel did not posture. It did not demand tribute or recognition. It merely existed, and its existence rewrote everything. Fleets scrambled into defensive formation, but their admirals could not shake the creeping dread that swept their ranks. Sensors that once betrayed every weakness now returned only static when pointed at the Aegis. Energy scans failed. Weapons locks broke. It was as though the ship existed half in myth, half in reality. When the humans finally moved, it was not with fire but with effortless inevitability. The Aegis pulsed once, releasing a wave that rippled across the Dominion armada. Engines died. Shields flickered. The most advanced weapons in the galaxy fell silent as though ordered to rest. Admiral Varisk, who had once laughed at the very idea of humans, could only stare at the dead console before him. This cannot be," he whispered. But it was. The myths had not only returned, they had come with the quiet authority of inevitability.